I'd say it's time for some fletching. Actually, it's time for some new arrows. Hey folks, Alex here, Liberty Rogue Outdoors. Gonna fletch up some new harvest sticks, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, how goes it? It is July 1st. Harvest season's on its way. Come July, I start getting really geared up and scouting and preparing for the harvest season, which for me starts in September. It's great having a pretty bow. That's awesome. I mean, as long as you've got a good, the bow works good for you and it fits you, and that's great. But really, it doesn't come down to the bow, especially in traditional. Comes down to the arrow. There's a whole art in tuning your arrows and fletching them, and I'm going to go over that real quick, and I'm going to fletch up some new arrows. So come along. Yeah, there's going to be certain tools you need. This is a G5 arrow square. Square the ends of your arrows after they're cut. I'll go over that. This is an arrow cutter. It's all laid out with a tape measure. Depending on your draw length, that's what you'll adjust this back and forth. And then you've got a blade in here. You turn it on, set your arrow in there, and you cut it precise. Then you take it off and square it. The reason you square it is the insert that goes into the end. If this shaft is not square, your insert is not going to fit properly. And then when you put the rollers, put these rollers up here, and you turn this, you can tell just by rolling it, when you look at the end, put a broadhead in it and roll it, and you'll be able to tell if there's any wobble. Traditional archery has come a long ways. We used to have just wooden arrows, then they had aluminum, now they have carbon with wood laminate overlay. They last a lot longer. I mean, they're very durable. So with a wooden arrow, here's a wooden arrow shaft that I made. This is made out of maple. I've made these years ago, and really good arrow. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. You can add aluminum inserts here, and you can switch broadheads in and out instead of having to glue them on. You got to get with the times a little bit. I do harvest a deer every year with a wooden shaft arrow, and I just make a point of it. It's something that I like to do. And then the rest of the year, I go with carbon with a wood laminate overlay. I can go stumping with them. They don't break as easy. This is one of those maple arrows. I harvested a deer with it, and it broke, but I was successful. It's a lot different than going with a compound, and there's a certain satisfaction with that. So let's get into fletching up some new arrows and show you how I do it. First things first, these arrows that I'm making up are a 400 spine. The spine is the bending capabilities of the arrow. Each bow is different, and you need to figure that out. This is for my short horse bow, and it's a brand new shaft. I buy it long. The first thing you want to do, I like to do, is take out the knock, and then I'm going to square the back of the shaft where that knot goes. Now that's a carbide. It's carbide right there, and basically all you do is roll the arrow, and There it is. You can also, to make double sure, you can take a Sharpie. Silver works good. All I could find was black today. Put that Sharpie, a little bit of black on there, and when you roll this, if it isn't true and square, it's going to leave some marks. And that is good and square. I put my knock back in. There it is. Okay. I have this laid out. These particular arrows are going to be cut to 28 inches. And you put your knock in the back. I'm going to fire this baby up. And that is it. That is cut exactly to 28 inches. Now I've cut this to 28 inches. I'm going to put it on my G5 squaring machine. And I'm going to square this up. My next thing will be showing you, which I typically use. I always have used a traditional jig. It's on a stand, one fletch at a time. This is the easy fletch. You can do one of these. This is a right wing fletch jig. You put your fletch right in there, line it up at the bottom. You do that on each one. It's a pretty handy. I still like the old ones where you just do one at a time, but this is convenient. I can take this to the field with me on hunts, and if I rip a fletch, I can clean the arrow up and put a fletch right on it, and no problem. And it works very well. Okay. Okay, once you have all your fletches in the jig, you notice you have two solid blue and a lighter blue. That's for your cock feather, which is your indicating feather that you know, odd fletch goes out on a traditional bow. You always want to clean your shaft before you apply your fletching. And usually I would use good alcohol pads or something like that. So what I've got is antiseptic towelettes, and that should work just fine for this out here. So you take this, clean the surface where your fletch is going to go. Give it a wave. That gets rid of all the oils, and that will apply your glue very good. I'm using Fletch Tight Fletching glue. You can get that online. Okay, your next step. You're going to take your glue and liberally apply it. Down the fletch. And this is a pretty good jig. I like it. You can take it with you, like I said. It's great when you're out on the island and you need to replace a fletch. At this point, you're going to take your shaft. You can take your shaft, and as you put it down, there is a spot for this knock. Put that down in there, and you'll feel it when it's seated. And then, this is pretty cool, you are going to pull that up. You're going to take the cap. That goes, and push that down and pull it. You're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes. And what I like to do is I take a Q-tip, and in between the veins, I just get any of that runoff from the fletching glue. I'll run it down between the fletches. That just cleans up the edges, smooths out any spillover of the glue as it's compressed. You're going to let that sit just like that Leave that there for about 5 minutes, and then I'll show you. Okay, gave it an ample amount of time. Pull your cap off, push this up, and then open up your fletching jig. And there you go, folks. That looks good. Okay, what I also like to do, and I recommend, and if you're a archer you'll know this, you want to put a dab at the beginning, and that'll dry. You'll never even notice it's there. Keeps the fletch from peeling back. You also do it at the rear, and you set it aside. There you go. Works pretty good. All right, now we're ready to put in the insert. Aluminum insert. I don't use the Fletch tight glue on that. You can use super glue, you can use whatever you like, but the Fletch tight, it takes a long time for that to set up. You want to liberally apply some insert glue. Put it in. Now I like to take, should have had this off, I will take a practice tip, screw it on the end, it gives me something to hang on to, and then I screw that in. Make sure that that glue is all set around there, nice. It's very nice. Then you can take a tip, put it in, put it on your spinner, and check it. And you want it about an inch back. That looks really good. Nice. So everything's squared up. Everything is true as going to be on one of these. And it's a quick way to fletch. You can knock out a dozen arrows, no problem. And it works very well. So folks, as you can tell, you can go from this to this very, very quickly. It's a fun thing to do. It's a lot more satisfying than just going to a sports shop, buying your arrows, and it costs you a fortune. You can buy the shafts, you can buy them online, a dozen at a whack, or you can get half a dozen at a whack. Pick out the colors and the sizes of your fletches, right wing or left wing. These are 5-inch fletches, and you know, that little bit of right wing helical gives it a good spin. That arrow will spin right true. And if you bare shaft your shafts, sighting them in to tune them and bare shaft them, you'll have great success. I just wanted to thank you for tuning in. What one man can do, another can do sometimes. Get out there, find yourself the hobby, and hey, we'll catch you on the next time. Hey, guess what? Harvest time is coming. Booyaakah!
We all need was something to believe. Maybe it's God for you.